Well, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Light Bulb Moments. We are on episode number 108. We're live on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to check out past Light Bulb Moments episodes, including February 21st, 2021, which was the first session we had with our guest today, Phil Horvath. I'm Tom Kuhn. I'm the host and curator of Light Bulb Moments. I love looking for light bulb moments, and Phil is filled with light bulb moments. That was a tongue twister. Anyway, I'm glad you're with us today. Remember, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it's reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. And we're really here to help potentially create some light bulb moments for you, so you can go from confusion, overwhelm, complexity to a clearer and simpler path towards prosperity using a simple and visual approach. Remember to prosper, manage your ATM, the three currencies we have in life: attention, time, and money. And it's not lost on us that you're spending your precious time with us today, so thank you for that. Also, thank you to all of you that are watching the recording of this, and we appreciate you. Qnity is really about making financial wellness for pro beauty accessible, actionable, and approachable for students, employees, and leaders through our various programs such as Money EDU, which is offered for students in many schools, almost 130 campuses at this point. Money Pro, which is for professionals in the workforce. This is financial wellness. And Money SBO, which is for small business owners and those that think like owners in a small business. Our last guest was Sam V. It was a great session with Sam. I got to know him. We all got to know Sam a little bit better last week, and he was animated. He was on it. And actually, when I was spending time with him before, he said, I think I'll keep my camera off during our session. And he was on camera, and thank God, because he's expressive, he's exciting, and he was a great guest last time. Today, we're bringing back to the Brain Trust, the one and only Phil Horvath, CEO of Floyd's 99 Barbershop. They have multiple locations across the U.S., a combination of company-owned as well as franchises with over 900 employees, and we're going to explore several topics with Phil today. I'm excited about it. Save some dates here. Of course, we have the Phil coming up May 21st through May 23rd. And then on May 21st, there's a special event, sort of an event within the event, and that's going to be our second annual celebration of light bulb moments. The conference will be in Austin, Texas, a great property there called the Line Hotel. We hope all of you will be joining us. Early bird registration actually has expired, but it's not too late to sign up. And we will have some exciting new announcements and surprises coming up for both the Sunday night Light Bulb Moments, celebration of Light Bulb Moments, which also includes a fundraiser for Beauty Changes Lives, which Phil and I are honored to be board members of. As far as the Phil goes, one of the themes that we have is if you want to teach people a new way of thinking, don't bother trying to teach them. Instead, give them a tool, the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking. That's a really great theme when we come together at the Phil, because we always release new tools. We also have Money SBO, which is a financial management course for owners and managers. It's here in the Twin Cities, March 13th through 14th, led by Candace Gliato, who's a great educator, and super excited. I'll also be attending that event, and we have several people signed up. It's not too late to sign up for the event. We hope to see you there. Updates. I always give updates on the compensation study. Phase 2 has been completed some time ago. The report has been issued. Those of you that participated should have gotten an email that would give you an access code to get the report complimentary. We appreciate you for submitting your data. And if you haven't downloaded the report yet, go ahead and do so. If you want a copy of the report, you can go to our website and look under the tab that says data. So you definitely want to look at this report. It includes infographics, a 9-grid infographic in particular. It summarizes 8 key factors that tells a brand new story based upon facts, not fiction, based upon data, not stories, in terms of what a career looks like in the professional beauty and wellness industries, looking at career factors, including earnings, as well as flexibility, benefits, time off, all that kind of stuff. It also has some rich stories, of which many of you will recognize, sort of before and after stories about how financial literacy and lack of data impacted individuals' lives. There's sort of a before and after story for each of these, so that's also part of the report. The compensation study has really caused us to create a new arm within Qnity called the Qnity Institute, which is all about economic empowerment through actionable data and financial literacy. We will soon be opening up the study for 2022 data. Very soon. Stay tuned, because our submission period is going to open, and we'd love to have as many of you as possible participate. We are also expanding the study to include chain salons, and I say chain salons, that means a lot of different things to different people. Our definition is a brand that has 11 or more locations, which Phil and I am sure will be talking about today, because he fits under that category. My light bulb moment of the week is a good segue into a conversation that I'm going to have with Phil in just a moment here when I bring him to the mic and to the screen here. And it has to do with a light bulb moment that Phil had, and that was during the pandemic. It was like, boy, wouldn't it be great? All of the major associations that represent the professional beauty and wellness industry, salons and spas, could get together and unite and to work towards a common cause, something called Unite as One. And it's a very, very difficult and bold idea, which Phil has, Phil deserves credit for that. And it's very hard because associations all have their own bylaws, their own intents, they have their own focus. And associations also, have their own agendas, which they should. By definition, an association should have an agenda. And it's very difficult to get everybody together. It's difficult to get people on the same page. But our last session was a huge light bulb moment for me, because we had all but one association present. We're starting to see some unprecedented collaboration between organizations that otherwise had viewed themselves as, call it, on other sides of the aisle. So my light bulb moment is a good segue into Phil and how optimistic I am that we can speak in one voice going forward. So now, without any further ado, let's bring you to the get you off mute there, Phil. Good morning, Phil. How are you?
Good, Tom. Good morning. How are you doing? And good morning, everybody, as well too. And appreciate being on with you the second time around, and looking forward to this morning's event.
Well, I guess I didn't realize it had been so long since you were a guest. I mean, 2 years. I mean, got to be kidding. It just seems like yesterday. And I asked my team for the date, and they gave me the date. It was February 21st, 2001. And here was your quote. Here was your light bulb quote. If now is not the time, when is? Make the conscious decision to fight versus run away. There's always a way. And my team said, great episode. So
awesome. Well, I had a great time with you then, and I know we'll have a great time today as well too. So appreciate it.
Since we're not going to have a complete overlap of guests, I think we should set the stage here a little bit for who Phil is. Just kind of in a nutshell, why don't we describe what you're currently doing, your current role, and then we'll talk about some history that we have together.
Yeah, sure, not a problem. So currently, as you indicated earlier, I'm working at Floyd's 99 Barbershop Group as the president and COO. Been here just going on about 2 years now. Joined in April of 2021, and have joined this organization, which is a family founded business, still the families involved in the business. We've got the O'Brien brothers, three brothers that started this organization 20 years ago here in the Denver marketplace with the first Floyd shop, and give them tons of credit in terms of the vision they had for this business, and that, they weren't from the industry. They're kind of outsiders, but they're clients. So they obviously get their hair cut, and they had that light bulb moment 20 years ago for them to say, hey, let's do something different. And can we create a business model in a shop that is kind of the modern barber shop of what we see today, which, combines stylists, barbers working under the same roof, but with a passion for giving great haircuts and really what we call an amplified experience in Floyd's, which is, more than just what you see behind me, poster walls and great music. We have our own radio station that we curate, but the most important part of it is that really comes through in the individuality of our team members. That's one of our biggest values, is individuality. And, we don't really have a formal dress code. It's come as you are, it's be who your own personality will shine through. And we really live by that. And we take pride in that, because that allows our team to really set their own kind of vibe and personality. And each shop is going to be different because of that as well, too.
Three brothers. I have three brothers. I can only imagine what it's like to be a leader inside a company with three brothers. That's probably something to unpack over a beer, I would guess.
No doubt. But listen, I've worked for founders before, and I take that any day over a situation where you're more beholden to a corporation, right? In a sense, because it has its challenges, but it has more upsides in terms of passion that comes from that, and their ownership of the business and the commitment to the business. It's just a different level of commitment that you have, which is enjoyable to be around. So more good than bad, for sure. Listen, they're all in, and they're passionate about it every single day, and I'm passionate about the industry and this business as well too. So it makes for a good team.
You and I met in Denver. You had grown up in the business, a family business, a multi-generation, and I was out there working in distribution. So we've known each other a long time. And I would say that we explored a lot when you were a guest last time. And I'm going to encourage our listeners to go back to February 21st, or go to YouTube and listen to that episode, February 24th, 2021. And you had a vulnerability, and you had a passion that came through that was very inspiring. I think everybody should listen to the episode. You had come from working with another very large organization that ultimately went through some tough times. And then you had a little bit of a gap between when you left that company, short gap. You had multiple offers and all that stuff, but you talked about your experience with your previous employer and the situation. There's also this passion that came through that you have for the industry that is just incredible. And you and I spend a fair amount of time together working with Beauty Changes Lives and other stuff. And what most people don't know is that you got a day job, then you have a second day job, and that's all of your give back. You're a hardworking guy, and so I want to acknowledge you for that. So,
yeah, I appreciate that. No, listen, it's I think all of us, when you're passionate about something and you love what you do, you put everything into it, and that's the way I've kind of always lived in. And you alluded to that earlier. It's I was born into this industry through family, and a father and a grandfather that are both hairstylists, and immigrants to this. My father immigrants to this country, so I'm first generation. So that hard work is part of an inborn ethic as well too. But at the same time, you tie it together with this industry, which is passionate in itself. It just led me to want to make sure that if I look at my career and what's the next phase of it, I still plan to be involved for a while, but how do I give back? How do I make a difference beyond just my current situation where I'm in, which is the most important? But at the same time, I think we all have to give back. And I think going through the pandemic caused us to kind of all reflect and think about impact we have in our families, businesses, lives, et cetera. And to be honest with you, kind of the broader world. And having immigrant parents gives me at least, I think, a perspective on thinking broader in that sense, because I've spent a lot of time traveling in Europe, and my wife's side of the family is also from Europe and dealing with some challenges in that they're from Ukraine. And so that to me is always gives me that broad perspective of, we're put on this planet to obviously do something, no matter what your religious views are or whatever. I'm a firm believer that we're here to give back in some way, shape, or form. And if I can do that through my industry expertise and involvement with great people and people like yourself and such, then that's what I'd love to do and plan to do, for the next, let's call it decade here still.
Before we get into no beauty secrets, before we get into unite as one and that kind of stuff, beauty changes lives. Let's get into just maybe a little bit about your view of the world based upon trends you're seeing in barbering, Floyd's. I mean, and just from a perspective, I think you have 900 employees that are part of Floyd's 99.
Yeah, we do. And in our shops that we own and operate, we have 76 shops we operate, and we've got approximately 950 employees in those shops. And then we've got our franchise partners that we've got about 45 shops and franchise partners that run those as well too, and do an awesome job for us. And I'd say for me, what I find very intriguing about where things are headed is that, and especially in our world of barbering, men's haircutting, or haircutting in general, I do see that really almost in a sense of kind of a universal approach to it. It's not about men, it's not about women, it's about haircuts and what's best for that person, that client, right? We see that more and more in our shops, where we have, a matter of fact, I saw it, I'd say a month ago, I was in a shop visiting and had a couple in there, the partner, the husband and wife, I believe, but she had an awesome short haircut, and just that approach to how can we, as our business model, really kind of play in that niche, serve in that niche, and be great at that in terms of providing that style and that haircut that's unique to that person, personalized to that person. And I think that's going to be something that we're going to continue to, on our end, really leverage and play on. And then secondly, I'd say infusing color into that. I think that you see barbering right now, if you follow, any of the top barbers that are with some of the brands and things like that, you definitely see them pushing into color now. Whereas it used to be just purely cutting, now you see them pushing into color, and especially fashion color, because short hair, when you have that look, you can really do some awesome things with, fashion color and some accents in it, or designs, things like that. I think, and given the younger generation, again, I just see that's going to continue to evolve over time, as well as, men in general. That younger generation of men, listen, the amount of money they spend on their hair, the way they care for their hair, the importance they place on hair is very different than my generation was, right? So I have two sons that are in 19 to 23, and I see how they care about their hair, and so how do we continue to evolve within that area of the business to help really become kind of, in Floyd's world, really our goal is to become kind of that destination for all things grooming, right? In a sense, for sure men, because that's a predominant amount of our clients, but also women as well too.
I love that, destination for all things grooming. That's a good one. I love that. Tell us a little bit of, let's dig a little bit deeper into trends and share at your discretion, like growth. I mean, how was 2022 compared to 2021? And from a growth standpoint, and is your growth coming from more clients or higher ticket?
Yeah, it's really both. So, if we've come out of the pandemic and building back from 2019, right? We've seen, year over year sequential growth, which is good. We'd expect that coming out of the pandemic, but it's been strong growth. I mean, we've grown from a sales perspective 20% each year, right? So 20, from 20 to 21, 21 to 22, we saw that. And it was a combination of the average ticket. We raised prices. I mean, like many of those in the industry have done in order to keep pace with, in our case, mainly wage inflation, right? We've seen the wage costs go up quite a bit. Yeah, some materials have gone up, a little bit as well too, but it's really the wages driving our price increases. And, we get asked by clients sometimes, so once, things slow down, are you going to lower your prices again? And we're like, well, no, because wage inflation will not go backwards. I mean, and in some ways, listen, I have a perspective that what happened during the pandemic accelerated wage inflation. It was happening anyways. It was coming. It just pandemic accelerated it, right? So I think it's a good thing for the industry because it allows the industry to present itself as a paint a better wage, and as your data shows. And so I think that's what's great is we've been able to benefit from that. So it's a combination of that, but we've also been growing our client count. We've increased our client count year over year as well. So it's really a combination of both factors. And we have a goal to grow our number of units over the next 4 years to 300 is kind of the mark we're trying to get to, our next phase of growth. And every company has its, I always, when I graphically design it out, it has growth curve, right? It grows and then it starts to plateau a little bit. And what moves that plateau to the next growth curve, is always going to be either, a new infusion of capital. It's going to be a new idea, a new product that you launch, in the case of a manufacturer, let's call it, or it's going to be leadership, right? In large cases, it's new leadership that's come in to say, hey, I can help now move the needle. And that's what hope I'm bringing to Floyd's, is that vision of, how can we grow this business through franchise for sure is a model we're growing with. But there's other avenues of growth for us. E-commerce, for example, is going to be a growth platform for us over the next several years. Because if we want to be all things grooming, we've got to own not only in the barbershop space, but also in that digital virtual space around e-commerce is another avenue.
You said 20%. Last week I was doing an informal. We're going to be doing some more formal benchmarking. We track, I don't know how many clients we have right now. We track every single week. They input into a spreadsheet every single week, which for every service provider, what their client count, average ticket, and sales were for the previous week. And so we got a database, which is a bit of a gold mine. We're going to mine that a little bit more to provide some growth indicators. But last week I was on with a client and dear friend that we work with quite a bit, and she wanted to get some pulse on growth. So we did just a quick survey with about a dozen companies, and it seemed like a lot of them were saying about 10% growth. And at the same time, they're saying most of that were coming from a price increase, which suggests to me that the client count might be flat. What you're talking about is growth in client count and average ticket and a growth of 20%. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And it's, for us, it's, you are coming out of the pandemic. So our client count should be growing, right? Because we took a hit as we shut down and came back. And, we have locations in California, which went through multiple shutdowns as well, right? So, so I'd expect us to see that growth. Now this year, client count growth last year was 10%. I'm hoping it's similar, but it'll probably be a little bit less than that, but that's okay. I mean, it'll get us back to closer to where we were back in 19. And, I think all of us, our business now is, we don't need to exactly be where we're at in 19 with client count because of the price increases, but also we've done some things internally to be smarter about how we run our business so we can be more profitable, right? Because in the end, that's what matters most is what do you bring into the bottom line? It's all great if you have top line, but you have to secure the bottom line. And for us, that's important because as we go to grow franchise, we have to really be able to, because we have to disclose, to franchise partners, how our financials and what does that look like? What kind of money you're going to make if you invest in a Floyd's franchise? So you've got to really show that, at shop level, you have a 19, 20, 21%, bottom line, right, at shop level. And so we're laser focused on that because we know that's going to secure our growth. And the other thing I'll share is we're very focused on, I mentioned individuality as a value for Floyd's. People is our other one, focus on people first. And we are very dedicated. We have a purpose here at Floyd's. Our purpose is about making sure that we do everything we can to ensure that we create that environment for our team to live their best life, to succeed in this industry, and to succeed financially, kind of to what you guys preach at Qnity around financial wellness, right? We very much live that. And launched our own team app. We have an app for our team now that we just launched a few months ago that they download on their phone, and it delivers to them all of their data around their productivity, around their earnings, around their tips even. And we actually break it down where we show them on an hourly basis, what are you making per hour when you include tips, everything, so that you see that and it's with you every day. And part of that is a way to get them focused on how can they do better, but it's also a reminder that, hey, at Floyd's, you are doing well. We're helping you to do well, and we're going to help you accomplish that through technology as well too, and help you succeed at that.
We had a private conversation in terms of earnings for members of your team, which was private between me and you. I don't disclose other people's data. That's at the full discretion of a guest, but your people make a pretty good living. They make a pretty good living is what I got when I was talking to you in terms of your team and compensation, and the average ticket. And I've been a customer. I've gone in, and by the way, I go to multiple different salons, including Floyd's, and as if I have a really complicated set of hair to cut. But I've had a great experience there, and I had one, for example. It was the middle of a blizzard, and I was supposed to come in. It was like 5 o'clock. They wanted to shut down early, and they said, can you get in earlier? And I couldn't get in. They kind of waited around. I got there as soon as I could, but I had a great experience. And your people really, especially at your scale, to have that type of engagement with members of your team, I thought was really impressive. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Listen, and I just had a conversation this morning with our head of education where, every year we kind of step back and say, how can we up our game when it comes to that experience, right? It's always about always improving is one of our other values. And so what are we going to do this year? And we're launching a focused effort starting in March, and where we're going to not only double down on our team and that commitment to it, but then really go out to our clients and advertise that in a big way of what is that experience you're going to get at Floyd. So that when you come to Floyd's, you're already coming in with an expectation, so our team better deliver it, right? And we take a lot of pride in that. We actually have a survey platform we use, and we track net promoter score at the shop level, but we also track that down to the individual level. So we know that, every stylist barber, what are they performing at in terms of the net promoter score, which is really about, is that client going to refer a friend or family member to you, right? And we use that and benchmark against that. And our goal is to get to an 80 NPS as a company. We're at right now around 74, 75 consistently. But if you can get to an 80 NPS or higher, that is best in class, best of breed in any. I mean, that's the Apples of the world, for example, right? And that's our goal, is to get there. And if we can do that on scale at hundreds of shops, that's pretty unique. But we know that will secure our future and loyalty to the brand from our consumer and from our clients, right?
Funny you mentioned the Net Promoter Score. We're actually going to have a speaker at the Phil coming up in May that is going to get into the Net Promoter Score. And I'm familiar with it. Not everybody's familiar with it, but it really is a simple question. How likely are you to refer someone to your business? It's super simple. All right, so let's move over to some other things outside the world of Floyd's 99. And we've had the opportunity to serve on the Beauty Changes Lives board. I'm on my third year now, and I know you've been even there even longer than I have. And so Beauty Changes Lives is all about making beauty a first choice career through scholarships, mentorship, advocacy, etc. And there's only so much an organization like Beauty Changes Lives can do on their own. And there also is a need to really create an opportunity to communicate to current and future workforce about what this career looks like. And so there is a campaign in the works, and it's called No Beauty Secrets. And it is the word KNOW, and then also the words NO, which are part of that. So it's a take on No Beauty Secrets, NO, and then also No KNOW. So it's a clever, scalable campaign. And right now, it's like we have the theme. We have a lot of things in place. But why don't you speak about no beauty secrets? We just to kind of get to the cut to the chase. There's some areas of confusion around this. Beauty Changes Lives is a nonprofit. No Beauty Secrets is a campaign that Beauty Changes Lives is leading. And there's a group of associations we refer to as Unite as One that are also joining this initiative to get this campaign off the ground. So tell us more.
Yeah, no, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. I think that as you alluded to earlier, the Unite as One was a coming together of all the major associations, and serving on Beauty Changes Lives board with Linnell Lynch, who's one of the founders. I think she's on as well too on the session here. Just have a lot of admiration and pride for Beauty Changes Lives and what it stood for, and that's why I got involved with it. But at the same time saying, hey, there's so much more power in the collective, community, and how does that community come together to actually bring that power to bear, and so having the group get together during the pandemic was the first step. But the hard part is continuing that momentum, right? Because it's also, in a crisis, people come together, and then that crisis kind of subsides and people go their own ways. And that was my biggest concern, is that would happen. And so how do we keep that group coming together? How do we keep people engaged? Is by making sure we have something to rally around to really support, right? And the support of the career campaign, which to your point is under that branding positioning of No Beauty Secrets. We also can expand it to no, spa and wellness secrets, no barber secrets, right? So it really can be expanded, no nail secrets. It can be expanded to all segments of the industry. But the whole impetus there was, listen, we all love this industry. We all are passionate about it. I mean, the team that you have on here and the listeners, I know they're passionate about it, or they wouldn't be investing their time to be here. But we all owe it back to give it back and make sure that this industry thrives beyond us as well too. And again, I personalize that because of a family that's been in the business for, when I go back to my grandfather, 60 plus years, that's given a lot of great things to people. And I see that every day with the people in our shops and the success we bring to them, and they can provide for themselves, whether it's a single mom or whoever it might be. So this campaign is really that passion for how do we get these associations to continue to support it. But in the end, it takes leadership to make that happen. And no different than any company, any salon that's on here. Ultimately, there is the leader and the leadership that has to own it and bring it to life. And so Beauty Changes Lives kind of raised their hand and said, hey, we'll carry the torch here, because it's definitely aligns with our mission. But at the same time, somebody needed to do that. And so between myself and Linnell and Robert Passage, who's also one of the co-founders, kind of stepped up to put some financial, seed money into it to get it started. But now that's only the start. This is definitely a marathon of an evolution of bringing this to life. And so this next phase with Beauty Changes Lives, leading it with support of the associations, is to bring it to life now and to bring it to fruition and make sure that we can make it happen as well.
So what's different about the campaign? What is it? What when all the planning went into this, what's different about it?
I'd say what's different about it is that it is really the opportunity of a lifetime, the way I look at it, to actually position this industry as a first career choice and do it in a way that is so natural to today's ability to broadcast that message through social digital media and through influencers, right? We could have tried this campaign 20 years ago, and you would have had to rely mainly on TV, radio, right? Which would have been A, extremely costly, and B, not very effective. Now we can do it in a way that allows us to get the message out broader, quicker, faster, organically have it grow. Yes, there's a paid side to it. We got to pay for some paid media in order to target, the market we're going after, which is really Gen Z and that younger generation, to be a part of this great career. If I look back on, I shared the story with you before. One of my, first fond memories of the industry was having dinner with my father at 6 years old, and the dinner guest we had over was Horst Reckelbacher before Aveda was even created. He was just a hairdresser, an Austrian hairdresser that my father knew, those kind of individuals, they kind of created this industry, and we owe it back to those people and those that helped create this industry to carry it forward and create the new Horst Rechelbachers, right, and of the world. And there's plenty of them out there. If you look at a lot of the young influencers today that are out there, they're doing an awesome job because of using that social digital. So how can we use this campaign to really expand that message? But it has to take every single segment of the industry to get behind it. Yes, the associations need to be behind it for sure, because they have members and they can broadcast the message. But the financial end of it's going to take everybody pitching in, and between manufacturers, distributors, salon chains, schools, whatever the case may be. Individual salons can participate as well too. And we've already got some big manufacturers on board, Wella being one of them, where Wella is made it part of their points program now. So if you're a Wella salon owner and you have points you can redeem, one of the options for you to redeem those points is to give back to Beauty Changes Lives, which we're going to use those funds towards this career campaign. So, and that's powerful. I mean, to me, that's what's so different about it, is the power behind everybody getting involved and sustaining this campaign. It can't be a one-shot, 1 year, 2023 campaign. It has to be an annual thing, because let's face it, the labor side of what we're dealing with is going to go on for the next decade. It's really, I think, more and more younger generation, they are going to be looking for a trade. Not all of them want to go the 4-year college route anymore because of the cost of that, and they've found it's not really for them. But we have to be the trade that is on the forefront to say this is the best career to get into. There's some other great careers, culinary, other things, but in the end, our trade and our career sets ourselves up really well for that younger generation that wants flexibility. They want to have, the ability to be creative. They want to be able to, be able to make a good living at the same time while enjoying their personal life as well, right? So I know I've kind of gone on with this. You can sense a bit of a passion around it, but to me, the time is now, and that's where it's kind of, if not now, when, because now is the time to make this happen. But it will only happen if every single segment of the industry actually, is willing to pony up and kind of put their money where their mouth is. A lot of them preach about the industry and supporting it, but and our big pitch here is we all give to charity. We all, in some way, shape, or form, in our budgets. My organization is no different. We have charitable organizations we give to. All we're asking for you is carve out a certain percentage of that going forward, give it back to the industry. Why wouldn't you do that?
Well, you gave a shout out to Wella, and I of course noticed that the one and only Victoria Anthony has joined us. Good morning, Victoria. Thank you for your support on that and everything you do. I know we have people from Paul Mitchell on this call. I know we have people from Aveda, and I think it's taken a lot of leadership, Phil, to get it to this point. I want to give you credit for that. I mean, obviously, you mentioned Linnell and Robert, who I think both of them happened to. So 2 of the 3 founders of Beauty Changes Lives, I think, are joining us this morning. Good morning, Robert and Linnell. And shout out to the 3 of you for, providing some additional funding, because the compensation study obviously has been, a big part of our universe in the last 12 months. And there is this element of, sort of, I can relate with what you say. Everybody wants the data, but few are willing to pay for the data. And pay meanings just submit your data to be part of the pool, doesn't always have to come through funding, so I really would love for this group, this Lightbulb Moments group, to be activists and to contribute in the way they can to get, to move things forward. The compensation piece is so vital to this, is to change the perception versus reality around earnings. 24% of service providers in our study would make 6 figures. They make over $48 an hour average. That's not high end. That's not the upper 90 or 60 or 70%. That's middle, in the middle of the group.
Yep.
It's $48 an hour, which on a full-time equivalent is $100,000 plus benefits, plus time off, plus scheduling flexibility, all that kind of stuff. So you and I can get quite passionate about these initiatives.
And I think maybe to share how everybody can get involved on that, and just a shout out to our friends at Paul Mitchell. They stepped up right away and have contributed as well too. So thanks to them. But to your point, we want everybody to get involved, and some can't get financial. I get that, especially if you have some, individual salon owners perhaps, or even stylists. So one thing we are going to do is through this campaign, we'll be creating a whole library of assets, right, to support the campaign, which we'll then share out to the industry, and people then can share those assets. And, it could be that they share it through their recruitment page, right, or they share it through a posting that they do in social, right? So, and we think this organic side of getting the message out, having influencers share it, why wouldn't they do that? Because this industry made them successful. It's all we're asking is that you pay it forward. I mean, that's really the attempt here is, pay it forward and be part of that. We think that's so important to do that. And Tom, you're right. The data is important. I mean, we just finished our calculation of our top, we call them our VIPs at Floyd's, and these are stylist barbers that generate in excess of 100,000 in sales, and we treat them in a special way in terms of bonus and other things. But those are people that are making 3-figure salaries, in terms of between everything they make, and that we need to tell that story. And it's not just about Floyd's. There's salon owners here that they have people that are doing successful, and the goal through this campaign is to tell those stories. And the great news is there's not a lack of stories of success. We have them out there. That's going to be the easy part, is in my mind creating the content and sharing those stories. It's more about making sure we can secure the effort, funding, and sharing out of the information. That's going to be the part that has to sustain itself over time.
Bill, it's great to have you as a guest. It's way past New Year's here. Valentine's Day is around the corner. When you entered the new year, did you enter the new year with any big intents, a key word, a resolution or anything like that? Or is that just not your MO?
Yeah, not necessarily. I think because for me, it's always about that consistency and persistency, right? It's being able to up your game every year and make it better, right? And so for me, it's always, we got specific objectives and goals as a business for sure, and and personally, for me, it is I'm definitely wanting to continue to give back, right? I think that's my commitment, is how do I take this year to continue to give back and do that in a way. And Beauty Changes Lives as a vehicle for me to be able to contribute to and take a lot of pride in that. So I'm excited to do that as well too. And by the way, I saw one of your guests had a question just about recruitment at Floyd's. I saw, so just real quick, listen, we're doing everything and anything these days because it is a challenge to recruit. We find that. So we're doing things we haven't had to do in the past, but it's a lot of it is definitely just the boots on the ground. We're using social digital to target ads out to potential stylist barbers and to connect with them through social digital. That's one technique that we use, which has been very successful, and outside of the traditional postings and things like that. And we're also doing education events now. We're actually starting this year in our home market to do some quarterly education events where we just invite stylists and barbers to come, and we're going to provide them great education through some our people, but also some outside people. And it's not about a hard recruitment sell. It's just about selling, education, right? And how we believe that's important, and try to get some eyeballs on our brand, and just expose our brand. And it's kind of marketing 101, right? How to expose the brand and keep growing.
Well, I'm going to see you in person in April. There's another Save the Date I want to mention to our listeners here, and that's in April in Chicago. Beauty Changes Lives. We'll have a gala there. I'm going by memory, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I think Lisa will probably put something in the chat, but I think it's April 23rd, April 24th. Are those the days down there?
April, actually, it's going to be the 16th, 17th, right? So it's kind of that weekend. And she did, April 16th is the actual event, experience event for our event for Beauty Changes Lives. That's a Sunday.
Yeah. The next few months have a lot of things on the calendar, so I'm glad that I got that etched into my brain. My wife's going to be coming with me. It's going to be an epic weekend, so we hope to see people there join us. Lisa Roberg, she's the new executive director of Beauty Changes Live. She just posted something in the chat there. So, Phil, thank you for the light bulb moments today. I'm kind of obsessed with light bulbs. Here's a new light bulb that we have, and it kind of clicks off. There's several things that lit up in our conversation today. At the Phil on Sunday, May 21st, we will be awarding 2 golden light bulbs. Phil, you have mentioned that you will be there pending any circumstances. So we'll see you in April. We'll see you in May. And let's everybody give him a virtual round of applause. And we, of course, will be sending you your $1 million light bulb. You should be expecting that soon. You could put it right there with the other one, and we'll have you as a guest more often on this, okay?
No, I appreciate it, Tom. And listen, thanks to you and everything you've done. We've known each other a long time, and you're, taking the step to do what you've done now with your organization, and enhancing everybody's, financial wellness, I think is admirable, and I'm thrilled that you're doing it. And I really appreciate that you named your event after me. By the way, it's just every time you say it, Phil, I think, well, yeah, it's my event. I love that.
Bill at the Phil. All right. Thanks
got it.
again. We'll see you soon. Stick around, group. Let me see what else we got going on here. So who's with us today? I'm going to shout out a few people like Andrew and Anthony and Cheyenne and Christine and Connie and Desmond and Heather, Jared, June and Carrie and Carla. Oh, look at Carla. Hi, Carla. Long time. Kelly, Kevin, Lisa, Linnell, Melissa, Michael, Mike, Missy, Rachel, Robert, Sam, Sharon, Terry, Con, Vanessa and Victoria, such great people. I don't think I mentioned everybody, but doesn't matter. That's one really great group, and I appreciate everybody joining us. Let me see what else I have for us before we wrap up here. So we awarded the $1 million light bulb to Phil. Shout out to our sponsors. We have Lightheart Sanders, the CPAs, and also Ally Health, which is virtual mental health care. And then also Qnity, of course, through its various programs for students, professionals, and owners. Remember, save the dates of the Phil. Hopefully we'll see Phil at the Phil down in Austin, Texas. And then, of course, Money SBO here in the Twin Cities. We love hearing from you. You can go to our website and you could submit a light bulb moment or nominate someone to be one of our guests. We love to hear from you. Gratitudes to everybody that joined us today, as well as our team for everything they do to make these sessions happen. So we are at 47 minutes after the hour, exactly where we want to be. We'll wish all of you a great next week. We are off next week. I always get this wrong. We're off next week, but then we're on in 2 weeks. So we'll see you soon. Thanks again, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye now.